Hold on one second. We about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dark Waters, in the back. And I'm back on that extra stuff. Hitting the news today, I saw a couple of things that popped out to me. I want to start with this one. Bible kerfuffle stuns Texas parents, leaves school district scrambling to explain. There is no need to scramble to explain anything. America and the world is in the midst of spiritual warfare. And that warfare has manifested into the natural realm, where you're seeing acts of violence all over the place. So this article is about HB 900 in Texas. And just a quick read of it. It says, a school district in Texas has scrambled to explain to parents why officials temporarily removed the Bible from school library shelves over concerns about its supposedly sexual explicit content. Let me explain something to you, ladies and gentlemen. We have to come to a point where we understand something. And you need to understand this. Most good people want to live their lives. They don't want to be in charge of anyone. They want to hang out with their families, barbecue, eat steaks, hang out, and chill. Most conservative men want to keep themselves in good shape, raise their children, hang out with their beautiful wives. Most conservative women want to raise their children, handle business, hang out with their families. We're not in an environment where you have the leeway to not be active anymore. Evil has risen to the point to where evil has risen into positions of power where it makes decisions about your bloodline in your future generations. So you have to do away with the, oh man, I just want to raise my kids and smoke cigars and blow bubbles. I just want to see my kids run around in the yard and play. You're going to have to be active politically. Very active, to the point to where, no, if it's a school district and the school district, quote unquote, makes a mistake, then you're going to have to run for that school district seat, and you're going to have to sit in that seat. Anything other than that, we're going to keep running into problems like this. Watch this. This month, Superintendent Daryl Flusche apparently confirmed in an email to the Christian Post that Canyon Independent School District, which includes the south side of Amarillo, has removed the full text of the Bible from district libraries in an effort to comply with HB 900, a law designated to keep inappropriate sexual content out of Texas classrooms. Standard for library content prohibits books that have one instance of sexual content, Flusche wrote to the Christian Post, according to the screenshot shared by the Texan. Therefore, HB 900 doesn't allow numerous books, including the full text of the Bible, to be available in the school library. In the alleged email, Flusche noted that excerpts from the Bible were still available to libraries and that the district maintained strong connections with local churches, all of which would be willing to flourish a copy of the entire Bible to interested students. He advised parents who dislike the Bible ban to reach out to their state lawmakers and ask them to consider HB 900. So, if you're not familiar with this, Governor Greg Abbott came out and passed HB 900, which is a bill to ban sexual explicit content books from libraries. And we know that the FBI was harassing parents, which I think it's amazing, because now we got terrorist attacks all over the place, and the FBI was too busy chasing after parents who didn't want their children looking at pedophilic books in libraries, but nonetheless. And so Texas passes a bill, HB 900, to prohibit that type of book from being in public libraries. And so this is why you have to be in positions of power. And today we're going to have conversations about power, period. Because most conservatives don't want power and control. They just want to live their lives. So you leave that power and control mechanism over to wicked individuals. And to be clear with you, we're not talking about like your average liberal person. We move beyond where the average liberal individual will go into office and do something. These are extreme leftists. And I'm going to go so far as to say what we've seen is Satanists and Satanism rise in America. Don't believe me? Just look at the fact that people don't know what a man and what a woman is. It's plain as day. And so the point I'm making to you is every time you engage with something or someone or entities or individuals who are demonic in nature, evil is good and good is evil. It's going to always be that. And so there has to be a standard that's raised when this conversation happens in that school district and the person says, well, yeah, we're going to take the Bible out of schools, out of the library because of this. Somebody has to be there and say, you done lost your damn mind. If there, and here's the thing, this didn't happen without a conversation going on. When you chunk down to the lowest level, there had to be a conversation in a room full of people. So who was in that room? If I was in that room, I would have said, excuse me? Well, we can't put the whole Bible in there because it has this. Excuse me? And I would have just looked at him and said, here's what you're not going to do. While James Williams is sitting at this table, you're not finna play games with me. You ain't finna play games with the Bible. Now, you got two choices. You can back off this bull crap that you own, or I can walk out here in front of the news media, in front of the parents, and go knock on door after door after door and get you removed from your seat. Those are the choices you have. You know good and damn well that that's not what that bill was written for. You know good and damn well what HB 900 targeted. And you know why HB 900 targeted that content, because it's the same content in libraries that people would try to read to school districts, and they said it was too explicit when they would read it in the school districts in front of the council. They'd be like, oh, that's explicit, but it was fine to be in classrooms and in libraries. But at this point in time, we got to come to the understanding it's not evil's fault. No. This is where responsibility comes in. Now, wicked people gonna be wicked. They're gonna be wicked. And the only time wicked people rise is when good people sit down and go on about their business and ignore them. That's how you get to the point to where we are today. There's been so much ignoring of the wickedness that goes on and just letting them have their way that as you start to push back, you notice they lose their mind because there's been no opposition to them probably for 50 years. And so there has to be a constant opposition to it. So people are going to have to dedicate their lives to the protection of not only your kids, my kids, but other people's kids. You're going to have a life of service. That doesn't mean that you won't be able to hang out at home and spend time with your family. Some guys are going to have to stop hunting so much. You're going to have to go your ass into a life of service. Some people have to spend a little less time on a gun range. You have to go your ass into a life of service. If that doesn't happen, if that doesn't manifest, I don't give a damn who you vote as president. Everybody's like, Trump is in, yay, and I'm a Trump supporter. Everybody knows that. But Donald Trump don't fix this. And that's what you need to understand. You fix it. I fix it. We fix it. Donald Trump don't fix this. All he does is create the environment for it to be fixed. Here it is. Parents, however, did not respond as he'd hoped. When the word about the Bible ban spread, both parents and lawmakers slammed the district for ridiculous interpretation of HB 900, which Governor Greg Abbott signed into law a year ago. HB 900 prohibits any classroom material that describes, depicts, or portrays sexual conduct in a manner that is patently offensive, except in cases of material directly related to required curricula. Canon ISD mom Regina Klein told the Texas School Board the Bible holds great value. It should be valued in our Texas school system. It seems absurd to me that the good book was thrown out with the bad books. No, it's not absurd, Regina. It's not absurd. It's not absurd at all, Regina, because you don't understand what wickedness is. So in your mind, it's like, why would they do that? Why would somebody do that? No, they freaking evil. And that's the thing that we got to come to terms with now. You need to come to terms with now that there is good and there is evil, and evil has been on the march, and now good is on the march. And if you don't continue to march, then it's going to be your behind. Because it's like fighting a war, and you beat an enemy army down to where it's half the army, and then you turn around and go back home and start sipping tea and hanging out. They still pissed. They're going to go raise another army, and they're going to come back. So you have to be on top of these things. You have to pay attention to this type of stuff. And this is on, I would call, this is on the state level, right? So you have things that happen on the state level, then you have things that happen on the municipality level, on the city level, and then you have things that happen on the national level. The battle is across all these different levels. And we have to pay attention, guys. So, what's the solution to a problem like this? This school board, Canyon ISD school board, that whole school board, everybody on that board needs to either be removed or people need to run against them. And if even at minimum, if you don't want to run against the school board participants, at minimum, pretend like you're going to run against them. And you got to understand, these school board positions, man, it's not like they're getting paid a whole bunch of money. The pathway into politics on a municipal level is, okay, if I want to be mayor or if I want to be somebody important, I'm going to go take an easy seat. So I'll take a school board seat. I'll go contend with somebody on the school board, right? Boom, I get on the school board. Now I'm on the school board. I'm here to make a name for myself. That's how it used to work. I'm here to make a name for myself. So the person who was trying to make a name for themselves to move up in higher levels of politics, they wouldn't do something like this unless their constituents allow them to get away with it, unless there's support from a certain number of constituents that would say, yeah, go ahead and do that. We have your back. And unfortunately, because people are so quiet and they won't say anything because you're not paying attention, there's no backlash and true feedback for these people to understand, whoa, Nelly, you done lost your mind. Ain't nobody supporting that. So it has to be the feedback, baby. And this is the amazing thing. Hundreds of thousands of people were tweeting at Elon Musk and Donald Trump and all the rest of this. Why ain't nobody hitting these people up? The superintendent, Daniel Fluchet, that dude should be destroyed on Twitter today. If he has a Twitter, it should be destroyed. Hold on, let me see. Daniel Fluchet. And see, we have to use social media the way it's supposed to be used and stop using it like damn children. There he is right there. There he is. Right here. So this is what we going to do. Daniel Fluchet about to get a taste of the Dog Waters family. This month, Superintendent Daniel Fluchet apparently confirmed an email to the Christian Post and Canyon Independent School District, which includes the south side of Amarillo, had removed the full text of the Bible from district libraries in an effort to comply with HB 900, a law designed to keep inappropriate sexual content from classrooms. In the alleged email, Fluchet noted that excerpts from the Bible are still available. So it was this guy who made this decision. It was him who made the decision. Go and find Daryl Fluchet and let him know that you are aware of the fact that they removed the Bible from the school district. Point blank, period. Now I'm going on to the next subject. And from now on, we're gonna do this level of research, then we're gonna do practicals. Because there should be parents, like when I click this, make sure ain't nobody here. There should be outrage everywhere. Like he should be getting slaughtered. Nope. Because they could just slide out and get away with whatever the hell they want to get away with. And therein lies the problem. Be clear with you. I ain't telling you go touch nobody. I'm telling you, make it known. Nah, the Bible ain't porn, dog. And the simple fact that you think it should be removed, and that you think that because HB 900 was passed, that you gonna turn good into evil. Nah. Somebody gonna tell you about yourself, and it's starting with us. I'll be back. We're going on to the next topic. Next story I want to touch on. Reportedly, Trump to hold MAGA victory rally in D.C. ahead of inauguration. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I think this is a horrific idea. I don't think it needs to be done. I don't think it serves any purpose at this point in time. The troops don't need to be rallied. Everybody knows what it is. I don't think any additional exposure is necessary to the deep state whatsoever. I'm sorry. And I don't like it. What day is this supposed to be held? To the victor goes the spoils. President-elect Donald Trump will be holding a mass rally for supporters in Washington, D.C. the day before he is set to be inaugurated for his second term. What is already dubbed the victory rally will be held at Capital One Arena on January 19th. I don't like it. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I would prefer for you to get inaugurated on the 20th and then do a rally on the 21st. I would prefer for you to have control over the Secret Service, over the FBI, and have your hand firmly around the necks of the CIA before you did this. And I know it makes sense from people's perspective. Yeah, we're going to have a rally. We're going to have a big party. No. Sorry. These people done tried to whack you. And now you want to bring your constituents to D.C. And it could be because he's saying, well, I want to make sure I have enough people in D.C. for the inauguration. And it could be because there's been a chilling effect of January 6th and all the rest of this. So you want to make sure he has enough people in D.C. for the inauguration. I understand all that. But quite frankly, the way I feel about it in this environment is, hey, man, I wouldn't personally care if there was 10 people there and you walked up, you put your hand on that Bible, you got sworn in, you said, I swear on the Bible that I will protect and serve and blah, 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 blah. I don't want no fanfare. I don't need none of that. Turn around, get in the beast, go to the White House, sit at the desk and handle business. Now, that fanfare, all that stuff to me is over. Ain't no need for no fanfare at this point in time. It's time to be about that action. And I understand that. I understand why he wants to do it. I just think it's too dangerous to do. And these enemies have proven themselves to be dangerous. These enemies have proven that they want to do terrorist attacks. And you're looking at them all over the place right now. These enemies, and we're going to be coming out of what I would say is a serious natural disaster. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, for these ice storms, for these snowstorms that's coming, let's be clear. You saw what FEMA did for the people in North Carolina. Nothing. I need you to understand this. In fact, let me sidebar note this, and let me go to my man, Weatherman Plus. Now, I need to make a point to you guys. Here he is, Weatherman Plus. By the way,
and some areas could get crippling ice. We do get a little bit of cyclogenesis, a strengthening low pressure, where the snowfall rates, the freezing rain rates, the rainfall rates, everything will intense as we're getting that severe weather for Sunday. But I also have some good news that could be potentially great news, especially for the South and what's going on with this second storm system, potentially snowfall and freezing rain.
By the way, this is Weatherman Plus. If you've seen me talk about the weather, I'm only saying what Mark is saying. I only mess with this guy. And I love him. He's straightforward. He don't play no games. But I'm going to skip through this because I want to show you
greatly something. As you're going through northern.
All right, this is what I need you to understand. Greatest potential for icing. He's showing the greatest potential for icing is right along the Mason-Dixon line, which is what I was saying. And I need you to understand, if you're not prepared for this ice, which will most likely knock out power, and typically when there's an ice storm, power is out for 7 to 14 days. Now, we're talking about this is the very first storm, so The second storm that they were talking about was coming further into the south and bringing ice along the Gulf Coast. But nonetheless, I need you to understand something. Trump don't have control of FEMA yet. And what I don't want to see, and what's lining up to be, is him coming into office on the heels of a natural disaster that is of epic proportions, power outages of epic proportions. But prior to that, if this plays out the way it could possibly play out, I'm not saying I'm guaranteeing it will, then you'll have significant power outages throughout all these areas because there will be icing on transmission lines, and that ice will, they're built for icing, but they're not built for the icing like this. You will have blackouts, right? And then you fast forward. Where you at, Mark, talking about the South? All right, he's going to be talking about the South.
Rain, bring that snow across the DFW, freezing rain across Louisiana and Mississippi. You can see the legend down here on the bottom, what each color stands for. As that further goes across the east, you can see how it goes on an upwards angle, but it still brings that snowstorm and that ice storm also across the Mid-Atlantic towards the 10th on the Carolinas. Now look at the Euro. Being further away with that low pressure system keeps all this precipitation bottled up, and the cold front punches that down, and it don't get no convection right here. Building this storm system up, carrying across.
Let's go, Jesus.
It keeps everything towards the west. So trying to find a trend, when you look at it, Canadian, it's showing it could get some of that snow, some of that ice, and it is agreeing that it is going to have the precipitation there, but it's starting to agree that this surface low could form up over by Mexico, and whatever freezing rain or snow you do get would be a lighter amount, but it still could get some, especially across the South Central for Texas, Louisiana, and some of Mississippi.
Let's go, Jesus. That's what we've been praying for. There won't be no damn ice storms. But nonetheless, worst case scenario, right? Let's go worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is all that frost up, all that get icy. All of it get icy. Now you got natural disasters along the coast. You got natural disasters along the Mason-Dixon line. And Donald Trump is going into his presidency dealing with these natural disasters. But he ain't president yet. And so you got 7 days, 14 days before he takes office where you sitting there frosty, freezing, and FEMA ain't doing nothing. I don't like, based on all the evidence of everything we've seen, the point I'm making is this. I don't like this. I don't like this idea. I don't like it. It's just my personal opinion. I don't like the idea of doing it. I don't think it's necessary, but he's Don. Don's going to do what he do. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's necessary. 12 noon, supposed to be keep recording. Prayer time. That comes first. I'll be back. All right, guys, I'm back, and I'm going to say this. I've been sitting here for a while. I think I ended this at about noon and went to pray, and then I came back for an hour fighting with this program, which all of a sudden it stopped working. But nonetheless, I'm going to say this to you. It's a terrible thing when you go into prayer and you realize, and you come out of it, and you realize that things are happening for a reason. And the reason things are happening is because people won't pay attention. They won't break out of the spell that they're under. It's a horrific thing to understand. Truly understand that people brought it on themselves. So I'm going to pick up with this article. New Orleans FBI office, police department are choked full of DEI nonsense. New Orleans Police Department and the city's FBI field office are staunch advocates for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and those same agencies are investigating a terrorist attack that killed 15 people early Wednesday morning. The New Orleans FBI field office has aggressively promoted diversity initiatives on social media, especially in its recruiting efforts. A press release May 20th, 2024, said that the Bureau would diversify agent recruitment events, so they would do DAR events, to aid in their search for applicants with diverse backgrounds, skills, opinions, and perspectives. A tweet from the FBI of New Orleans. Another tweet from the FBI of New Orleans. Robbie Starbuck, New Orleans Superintendent of Police Ann Kirkpatrick, is also an instructor for the FBI's leadership training program, where she instructs on bias and diversity. She's the chief of New Orleans Police Department and a DEI teacher. And quite frankly, guys, as this investigation goes on, which it will spill forward, you can clearly understand why New Orleans is in the situation that it's in. Now, somebody may be like, well, GW against DEI. And no, I want you to hire the best person. If the best person for the job just happened to be black, then hire their black ass. If the best person for the job just happened to be white, then hire their white ass. When it comes to positions like this, with the FBI, CIA, NSA, it's not a place for you to be trying to get diversity and inclusion. This is where you want the best and the brightest. You don't need all that foolishness in these positions, because this is what protects people. Now, if you got a brilliant person, I don't care what skin color they are, bring them into the FBI. It's amazing because I've known the FBI to recruit hackers that are absolutely brilliant kids that are 15 years old that hacked into the Department of Defense. They go hire them based on their brilliance and their intelligence. And the problem that you run into is when you do this DEI crap in positions like this and you're trying to fill quotas, when Mad Day comes, it's all exposed. I mean, and it's truly what we see going on. Mad Day came. And now it's all being exposed. But it don't have to get to this point. And on a larger note, the FBI has been busy with this type of foolishness. Not just the New Orleans branch, but the whole FBI has been busy with nonsense. For the past 4 years since Biden has been in office. And that's one of the things where I can say, unfortunately, blue cities are going to pay the price. Severely pay the price because of the fact that we want to play games about race instead of getting things done. Instead of defending the people, we want to make points. And so as this stuff starts to bleed out of the system of America, understand, unfortunately, there's going to be some attacks. And there's no way around it. I mean, I don't think there's a way around it. But every attack is going to expose what the problem is. I don't like it at all. I mean, quite frankly, I don't want to see people get hurt because of incompetence. But, bro, that's what it's boiling down to. And the opening statement of the special assistant agent in charge was, you saw the opening statement. This is not a terrorist attack. These were IEDs, and we're trying to determine the viability of the IEDs. They made a running back immediately, but in the moment of crisis for the city of New Orleans, when you look to the agency to deal with it, which would be the FBI, what did you get? And when I look at this picture, the two people in this picture that look like this a whole bunch of bullshit, and I'm going to show you. If you look right here at the senator and you look at the head of the state troopers, they both like, this is a freaking, the look on their faces, this is a shit show. It's a shit show. And I'm going to tell you something else. The simple fact that everybody and their mama got to be standing up there. Bruh, get up there, tell us what's going on. Everybody and their mono have to stand together. Get up here, tell us what's going on. Let's get it done. Let's get it dealt with. This photo op shit is ridiculous. I mean, it really, really is. CNN's Pamela Brown stunned by New Orleans attack. I don't understand how Pamela Brown is stunned by New Orleans attack, because CNN is one of the people that's been one of the most, they've been pressing for this type of foolishness.
This horrific event firsthand. Jimmy Cothran, he has lived in New Orleans for 15 years. Jimmy, first off, I'm so sorry what you have been through. I'm sure you were still processing this. Tell us what you saw.
About 3:05, 3:10 this morning, me and my friend were heading from Lower Bourbon towards Canal. We seen up towards Crystal Burger and all that there was just a lot going on. And so we ducked off into a nightclub real quick. And within 2 minutes of walking in, 4 or 5 girls come running in, push past security, and hide under tables. Me and my friend living here, kind of knowing what's what and things that have been on the news, we didn't take any chances. We ran upstairs to the balcony area that we knew was there. And when we got up there, it wasn't anyone chasing anybody. It was just unimaginable casualty. I mean, just the disfigurement and the bodies strewn, something you can't unsee, you'll never forget. Directly at our feet was definitely a mother, twisted up, obviously deceased. We counted around 8 bodies very quickly right in our area. One gentleman crushed, had tire tracks across his back. Once they rolled him over, he had tire tracks on his front. He was completely crushed. Another girl, young, small girl, was dancing when we were coming up the street, and she was just completely flat in the middle, dead center middle. Another woman just brutally run over, but still agonizing. I'm certified in CPR and first responder training, and they wouldn't let us help. They locked us all inside, which is understandable, but nobody else was helping. So that was even tougher. But just the fact that these people are somebody's people, and they're not going to be there this morning.
You know what pisses me off about this? The same news organizations that advocate for open borders, the same news organizations that advocate for all this foolishness, now when something bad happens, it's this fake ass empathy. This is the same the news broadcast stations that empathize with criminals, that sympathize with criminals. But now all of a sudden it's, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Bitch, you ain't sorry to hear nothing. Y'all ain't sorry to hear nothing. It's amazing. They pushed all this foolishness. They push incompetence. They push every damn lie in the book. They encourage it. And then when something goes wrong, it's like, oh, we're sorry it happened. Bunch of damn liars. I mean, they pushed open borders. They push defund the police. They push diversity, equity, and inclusion. They push all the things that lead to incompetence on levels that are unfathomable. And then when the result of that push, when the result of those narratives are laid forth, it's like, oh, I'm stunned by it. How are you stunned? And this is what pisses me off about the media. Like, you literally push for this. And then when people push back on it, the narrative is they're racist. So when people say, hey, man, the DEI inside of the FBI got to go, oh, you're racist. No. There's no way you can tell me that the FBI didn't know what was coming down the pipeline. If you're to say that the FBI did not know what was coming down the pipeline and they had no clue about terrorist attacks, then you only prove the point that I'm making, which is they are incompetent. It's a catch-22 either way it go. There is no excuse for them. You can argue why they're incompetent. You can say, oh, they're not incompetent because they hired DEI hires and because, or the NOPD wasn't incompetent because they didn't have enough police officers or because of the original Black Lives Matter protests and defund the police. That's not why. But the incompetence is obvious. It's laid out in front of you. and it's spewed out in the streets in blood. Like, I don't know if I can watch the rest of this.
It's rough.
I'm just.
And the reason why, guys, I've seen the footage. You can't play the footage on you. I've seen, it's on my phone, from multiple sources that was in officers that were down there. Straight up gruesome stuff. And the gruesomeness of it is not what bothers me. I mean, looking at the gruesome nature of it doesn't bother me. What pisses me off is these are the same people that advocate for it. They literally advocate for it. They advocated for it so much. Watch what Jim Carvell has to say. Jim Carvell, and they even updated the article. Jim Carvell was saying that the Democratic Party had lost its way and it were basically crazy. Now they changed it to Jim Carvell claims Kamala Harris because it's always the economy stupid. No. Jim Carvell was going off this morning. This is why I wish my program would work, because I could type his name in and it'll pull up everything he said. But for whatever reason, it won't activate right now. And that's pissing me off. But nonetheless, it's the incompetence. And when you look around, watch this. In the midst of a terror attack on Las Vegas and New Orleans, look at what liberals are saying. Kathy Griffin claims Trump will send her to internment camps. What? You see what I'm saying? They won't stop. They just won't stop. There was another one. Where did it go? It was Jim Acosta on CNN. The same foolishness. Where's Jim Acosta's punk behind that? This is why these people need to be arrested. And I don't care what nobody say. Like, it's time to lock these people up in the media. It's coming out about the IEDs, which it was more than 2 IEDs, way more than 2 IEDs. And that's from inside information. It's just, bruh, it's ridiculous. Meanwhile, while all that's going on, you got these dudes marching in the streets of New York. Pro-Palestine protesters marching in the streets of New York. Children of Dagon marching in the streets of New York.
And we're sending you back to Europe.
And don't think for a second that it's not there's no coincidence, or that it is a coincidence that after American citizens are killed, these people go marching in the street the next day. Or the same night, I believe.
Go back, bitch. I will slap the shit out of you. Shut up, you ghetto ass bitch. You're a ghetto ass bitch. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Come to Long Island. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck.
America better wake up, bro. I'm dead serious. America better wake up. There's prices that can be paid and that will be paid if America don't wake up. I'm talking about wake up quick, fast, in a hurry. And I want to see America wake up, but I'm not sure it's not going to happen. It may take a little bit more drama like this for this nation to wake up. Don't have to be, but it may take a lot more drama for this nation to wake up. Starbucks closes one of its flagship locations as crime overtakes founding city. Where's this at? Got to be L.A. somewhere. Seattle, of course. You got to remember, it was in fact, YouTube. And just to prove a point, defund the police. Plus CNN. Plus MSNBC. Let's defund. 4 years ago. Here you go.
It has happened again. On Friday night, Atlanta police shot a black man in a Wendy's parking lot, a man who had been sleeping in his car and who was unarmed. The excessive and deadly force used by these officers requires many of us to take a deeper look at our policing systems. You may have heard on calls to defund the police, a move that sounds drastic to some. I mean, how do we function in a society that has no police? So I want to take a moment.
And I want you to notice whose hands is up with this, whatever.
Moment to step back and understand what defunding actually means. Defunding does not mean there will be no police force. It does not mean we abolish the police so that in an emergency we're left with no one to call. It means reallocating funds in order to solve the problems plaguing our policing systems. Our police departments right now respond to incidents ranging from homelessness to mental health welfare checks to rapes and murders and school shootings and everything in between. Police, on average, take 10 hours of mental health, sexual assault, and hate crime training. You heard that right, 10 hours of training. And they are the...
Let's go back. And I just want to prove the point that it's these same damn people. The same damn people that push for it. Here go these witches.
I think the biggest misunderstanding comes from those that aren't that familiar with law enforcement, because it's something that I spent the majority of my career doing. You know, the
and
biggest.
To be clear, this is when everybody was at home. This is why they're not in the studio. This is why they're on Skype, because the nation was shut down at this point in time.
This misunderstanding is that people think that defunding the police means abolishing the police, and that's not true. There are three different reactions to what you can do in terms of combating police brutality, especially police brutality in black and brown communities, because we...
So here's what happened. I want to be clear with you. They took the pain of African-American communities and brown communities when there is a incident with the police, and it was based on the Black Jesus that they rolled out, who died and they said, I can't breathe. And they monetized that and flipped that into removing police forces and cutting the budgets of police all over America, especially in blue cities. And so now, 4 years later on the back end, 4 years later, when you got all your DEI in place, 4 years later, when you done cut all the police budgets and there's less police than there's ever been, 4 years later, while cities are in bankruptcy because of damn illegal immigration, which is going on in record numbers and has completely destroyed the fiscal budgets of Democrat-run cities. Now terrorism hits. And these same damn people, is the ones who ushered it in with their mouths. They're the same people who cast the spell with their words, putting people under a spell with their words. That's why I call these women witches. That's why, I mean, it's literally casting spells on people. Man, I'm done. I'm out to fight with my program. I need to make some phone calls. I'm done, dog. I'm done.